After my friend Eugene ditched me in an ambulance, I called him out for being a bigot. "You should move back to your stupid factory town," I yelled. Now he's blocked and friendless, realizing his values won't fly in the city. Was it worth losing a friend for his hatred? Various minor details were changed for privacy. In summary, my friend, who I have known for about a year, abandoned me in an ambulance following a medical emergency that occurred while we were at a bar together. This individual is an intolerant small-town person whom I was trying to help appreciate urban life after he relocated to my city for a job opportunity. After the incident, he apologized for abandoning me but then launched into a racist and homophobic tirade, prompting me to block him. I felt guilty for cutting ties with him, as he had assisted me in securing a new job after I experienced a layoff, and we had shared some enjoyable experiences. But I was exasperated by his ongoing refusal to become more accepting of diverse individuals. About a year ago, my friend Eugene, a 26-year-old male, moved to my large city for a position at my former job. He expressed that he was new to the city and wanted to meet new people, and he appeared likable at first. So I, a 24-year-old male, introduced him to my friends Stanley, 26M, and Craig, 38M, great individuals I had known since my own move to this city a couple of years earlier. He in turn introduced me to his new friend Sheldon, a 22-year-old male who attends the same church as Eugene. Initially, everyone seemed to get along, but as time passed, our disgust for Eugene deepened. Eugene possessed some positive qualities. After I was laid off from the firm where we both worked over the summer, Eugene, having numerous contacts, connected me with the human resources manager at another firm. The human resources manager had previously worked with Eugene and arranged an interview for me. The new firm's management was impressed and hired me almost immediately, with less than a month elapsing between my layoff and the new offer. Eugene also aided me with interview preparation and updated my resume. Additionally, he provided transportation and lent me his electric bicycles, among other assistance. We also formed a bond while pursuing the same industry-specific professional certification. Regrettably, we were horrified by several other aspects of Eugene's character. He is racist. Both of us are white, and our city has a majority black population with many Asians, Native Americans, and Hispanics as well. When he first arrived, he would punctuate nearly every other sentence with racial slurs against black people and would also use derogatory terms like faggot and beaner quite liberally. After confronting him about this behavior, he rationalized it by explaining that he was from a small, rural factory town where such language was commonplace. I had participated in group phone calls with people from that town that confirmed this. He ceased this behavior after my intervention, leading me to believe he was adjusting to city life adequately. However, I soon recognized that this was more than an unusual dialect. Stanley's favorite bar is located in a town roughly 20 miles away. One Friday night in July, Stanley, Sheldon, Eugene, and I visited this bar as a group. Upon arrival, Eugene received a phone call and abandoned us for 3 hours. Stanley, Sheldon, and I entered the bar, enjoyed a few drinks, played billiards and darts, and had fun for several hours, assuming Eugene would join us eventually. After a few hours, we were prepared to return home. We searched everywhere and took turns calling Eugene for about 20 minutes before leaving. None of us had been drinking. The bar was situated in a suburban strip mall and none of the other businesses were open. Frustrated with Eugene for leaving us behind, we decided to head home. We were almost home when we stopped at a convenience store because Stanley wanted to purchase cigarettes. While he was inside, Sheldon and I remained in my car. Sheldon received a phone call from Eugene inquiring about our whereabouts. We expressed our annoyance and demanded to know why he left, to which he replied that his phone had died and he borrowed someone else's charger. We instructed Eugene to call a rideshare service, but he refused, so we decided to return to the bar to pick him up. We then drove back to Sheldon's apartment. While Sheldon went to the bathroom, the rest of us remained in the living room. It was then that Eugene complained about the bar, which he had visited twice before, stating it had too many Mexicans. I immediately stormed out of the room, and the others were equally horrified. Later, he moved to a predominantly black neighborhood and openly complained about the demographics despite his own bigotry. Ironically, he enjoys listening to a lot of rap music. Moreover, Eugene is extremely stingy. He is undoubtedly the most miserly person I have encountered in my entire life, and his frugality knows no bounds. He consistently expects others to provide him with free transportation, as witnessed previously, and frequently anticipates that people will leave parties, concerts, and other events early to accommodate his preferences. On one occasion, Eugene blamed me for his oversleeping and arriving late to a work training seminar because he was at a bar with us the night before. He sleeps on a mattress he found in the trash. He does not leave tips at restaurants or bars. He often expects to take food from others and presumes that others will buy him rounds at bars. Eugene once invited himself over to Sheldon's apartment and asked if he could have a drink. When Sheldon granted him permission, Eugene helped himself to an entire six-pack of imported craft beer and without asking also took some leftovers that Sheldon intended to take to the office the following day. Most of Eugene's clothing is old and faded or stained. He complains about every occasion on which he is expected to spend money. He rarely goes out unless one of us invites him. When he does go out, he nearly exclusively orders inexpensive items unless someone else is covering the bill. Despite this, Eugene purchased a condominium in the city and paid for it in cash at the age of 26. Eugene also lacks various social skills. He frequently spends extensive periods on his phone while we are out as a group. I once took Eugene and Sheldon to a baseball game for the local Major League Baseball team, purchasing their tickets as a thank you for their assistance with my job search. Eugene spent half the game on his phone. The three of us visited a nearby state park with a beach, but he chose to sit on the sand playing on his phone while Sheldon and I swam. He is also quite whiny. On one occasion, the three of us went to a restaurant I discovered on Instagram. On our way there, we stopped at an electronics store in the same neighborhood because I had previously purchased a defective speaker from them. I went in for about 10 minutes to discuss my issue with the staff and exchange it for a functioning unit. I still have the replacement, by the way. Despite informing everyone in advance of my need to stop, Eugene complained, "Why did we stop at a store?" and expressed annoyance with our delay. We then arrived at the restaurant where, predictably, Eugene did not leave a tip. The three of us sat in a booth, with me on one side and Eugene and Sheldon on the other. After the meal, Eugene grew annoyed again and questioned why we were taking a different route home. I explained that Google Maps indicated this alternative route was faster. I live in a city known for its heavy traffic and generally use it for longer trips, despite being familiar with the major roads. After dropping Eugene off first, Sheldon informed me about Eugene's decision not to tip, despite having received excellent food and service. On another occasion, Eugene and I went to a sports bar in a different suburb with our friend Roger, a 28-year-old male, one of Eugene's coworkers who he had introduced me to after the incident at Stanley's favorite bar. We were watching a basketball game on television when Eugene wanted to leave while the game was barely halfway over, and I insisted we should stay until the end. We had carpooled. This was after I had spent the afternoon with him at the mall, where we had been looking at various furnishings as he prepared to buy that condominium in the city. At the time, he was renting a converted basement in the same suburb where the rest of us lived. Roger and I were both shocked by Eugene's complete lack of awareness. I instructed him to wait, and we finished watching the game before leaving. He also refused to call a rideshare service home, even though this sports bar was only a few miles from his apartment. On another occasion, the two of us visited a diner that we enjoy, located next to a different sports bar. Since the diner lacked a liquor license, we planned to have a drink at the sports bar, but Eugene insisted on trying somewhere new. We entered the first bar we encountered outside of the sports bar, which ended up being a gay bar. Neither of us is gay. We decided to have a drink there anyway. While we were there, I coincidentally ran into another friend, John, a 30-year-old male, whom I knew from a niche hobby that Eugene has no interest in, and we chatted for a few minutes. I introduced John to Eugene, and John kindly bought us beers. After spending about 30 minutes there, we decided to leave. 2 months later, Eugene irrationally brought up this incident, angrily insisting that I wasted his time until I pointed out that I had no idea it was a gay bar. There were no signs on the outside besides a single pride flag. And he was the one who insisted on going somewhere new when I wanted to visit the sports bar down the street. He also expressed anger once when I took him, along with Sheldon and a couple of high school friends, Fred, a 21-year-old male, and Mark, a 22-year-old male, who were visiting from out of state for Fred's 21st birthday, to a Sky Zone trampoline park. After we signed the waivers, but before we could purchase passes for the trampolines, Fred went to the restroom, and while he was gone, Eugene complained about there being too many kids. The venue is all ages. I checked their website beforehand and insisted he wanted to leave. Ultimately, we decided to go elsewhere because Eugene had dampened the mood, even though Fred and Mark had been looking forward to it. They and Sheldon were all fine with changing venues, so we left. I gradually grew tired of Eugene's antics and began to limit my conversations with him to group settings. Everyone else started to become frustrated with Eugene's behavior too. The rest of the group chat, which included Eugene, Sheldon, Stanley, Craig, Roger, and myself, expressed their frustration with him. However, I felt wrong about abandoning him in a city where he had no other acquaintances since he had previously assisted me a lot, so I kept him in the Snapchat group chat. The situation came to a head in December when Eugene, while drunk, called me and launched into a 20-minute rant about how he despises Craig's entire way of life. Craig is openly gay and has been since middle school. The rest of us are all straight, and he has been with his partner, Tweak, for several years. Craig is often part of other group outings, including weekly trivia nights at a local bar, not the same one where Eugene abandoned us but a different one, and was also one of my first friends after moving here. I completely lashed out at Eugene for his intolerant views, informing him that he needed to learn to be less hateful if he wished to succeed in the city. I then proposed a deal. He would teach me how to become wealthy and I would teach him cultural competency. He agreed to this. This incident occurred a few weeks before the situation at the gay bar, and fortunately, he did not say or do anything disrespectful while we were there. A month later, Eugene finalized the purchase of that condominium in the city. Sheldon and I agreed to help him move in. Sheldon assisted during the day while I was returning home after visiting family in another state for the holidays, and then I helped him in the evening. He assured Sheldon that he would buy him dinner, and Sheldon agreed. He then spent the entire Saturday having Eugene move his furniture and other items. We subsequently met up at California Pizza Kitchen where Sheldon joined us. I had a few slices of pizza before purchasing another one for myself. After Sheldon left, I went to the basement rental he was vacating to assist with packing his belongings, which were in disarray. He became upset when I paused to examine the living room and consider the best approach to packing his items. He carelessly tossed his Nintendo Switch and Xbox One into a suitcase alongside a glass bottle of Pine Sol hardwood floor cleaner, and then grew angry when I removed it due to the risk of it breaking and leaking onto his console. He also became irate when I challenged his proposal to place his gaming PC tower, which has a glass casing, loosely in another suitcase. I insisted on using some of the clothes lying around as padding to protect it from shattering. As someone who sells items on eBay, I understand the importance of secure packaging. On top of this, he complained that Sheldon had the audacity to order both a salad and a personal pizza at California Pizza Kitchen after he had helped Eugene move all day. I scolded Eugene for his ingratitude and pointed out that hiring professional movers would likely have cost about the same as Eugene buying a pizza from that restaurant every day for a month. Eugene fell silent on that matter. We transported his items to the new condo and he expressed gratitude for my help. We shared a couple of drinks to celebrate the completion of the move and then I left. Shortly after this, Stanley relocated to another state. I hosted a small farewell party for Stanley at my apartment, and after discussing Eugene's comment about buying dinner for Sheldon, Stanley requested that I exclude Eugene from the guest list, which I complied with. Sheldon, Craig, Roger, and a few others attended the party, and we enjoyed ourselves without Eugene's intolerable behavior. Eugene appeared to be making strides toward cultural competence. We went out on several occasions and he ceased his bigoted remarks. Regrettably, about a month ago, he invited me to visit a new bar near his condo. I agreed. Originally, we intended to play tennis at a park nearby. Eugene is obsessed with fitness and exercise, but rain forced us to choose the bar instead. When we arrived, I experienced a blackout due to some new medication and apparently collapsed on the sidewalk. The following morning, I regained consciousness in an unfamiliar emergency room, without my phone and my shirt or jacket, as they had to cut it off to conduct blood tests while I was unconscious. Rest in peace to my Blink-182 concert tee, and I had no idea where I was. After being discharged, I walked to Eugene's condo on the other side of the city. Upon opening the door, Eugene admitted that he was tired and had gone to bed but woke up at 5 a.m. without checking on me to ensure I was okay. He claimed he just assumed I had my phone and would call when I woke up, but I pointed out that it was entirely possible I could have remained unconscious. This incident marked only my second blackout experience. My first occurred about a year prior when I was curious about my alcohol tolerance and consumed a dozen beers followed by some vodka. I had also previously consumed beer, wine, and champagne on this medication without incident, and friends who are on the same medication do so without problems, so I did not anticipate this happening. Eugene explained that I fell on the sidewalk after vomiting, hitting my head on the concrete steps, and that another bar patron, not Eugene, witnessed this and called 911. A man we had just met while drinking found my phone after the ambulance transported me to the hospital and took it to a 24-hour diner down the street, where I collected it a couple of days later after learning its location. I confronted Eugene about his selfish actions. Not only did Eugene wake up at an early hour, but he remained completely sober the entire night, choosing to go out for social reasons instead. He drove me to my apartment to retrieve my spare key. I intended to return to his condo, which was just down the street from the bar where the incident occurred, and play video games while I sobered up before going back home. Meanwhile, Eugene posted in the group chat about, "Hey, Celet had to go to hospital name ER," providing no additional context, which left Sheldon, Roger, Stanley, and Craig confused and worried. Sheldon came to check on my health the next day, and I reunited with the rest a few days later on Sheldon's birthday during a group meal. Upon retrieving my phone, I thoroughly lectured Eugene regarding his selfishness. I expressed my anger over his mishandling of the situation. I clarified that I did not blame him for my medical emergency. Neither of us could have predicted this occurrence, as I had consumed alcohol on this medication prior without issue, but rather for how he handled my medical emergency. I continued this verbal reprimand for about half an hour. Following that, Eugene chose to delete his Instagram and Snapchat accounts. He skipped Sheldon's birthday party the next day, stating that Celet said he needed space. He excluded himself rather than being formally uninvited, and announced his decision prior to officially deactivating his accounts. He later reopened them days later. I dislike when individuals do this to gain the upper hand in an argument, and called me. At this point, I was extremely frustrated, but my curiosity got the better of me, so I answered the call. He apologized and asked if we could restore our friendship, but I informed him that we needed some distance before hanging up. I subsequently blocked him. A week later, he called again, reminding me that I had only blocked him on social media. I answered, during which I listened to him acknowledge that he had messed up during my emergency at the bar. He then admitted he still felt uncomfortable around large groups of racial minorities. Roger is Hispanic, and I had previously introduced him to other friends who were also minorities. I berated him for his bigotry and stated I did not wish to associate with someone who held such views, suggesting he return to his small factory town if he was unwilling to adapt to city life and accept people of all races and sexual orientations as they are. Eugene confessed that he had moved here solely for the job and would be content returning to a small town, while I had genuinely wanted to live in the city after growing up in a similar small town. He attempted to classify his racism, xenophobia, and homophobia as political opinions, to which I responded with friendship over before hanging up. Before ending the call, Eugene thanked me for taking the time to explain why I cut ties with him, as others had done so without providing any context, but I had made the effort to clarify my reasoning. He attributed his values to his small-town upbringing, prompting me to explain that I had given him a chance initially because I recognized that this was essentially his first exposure to diverse groups, and I mistakenly believed he could learn to overcome his boorishness. Eugene then reminisced about the various experiences we shared, but I reiterated that I no longer wanted to maintain a friendship with a bigot before hanging up. Everyone else supported my decision, sharing similar disdain for Eugene and his behavior. However, Roger expressed concern for Eugene's mental health due to his loss of friends. Roger still encounters him during work events and Sheldon sees him at church gatherings, but aside from that, we have all distanced ourselves from Eugene. Fred and Mark also stand by my decision, as do my family and several other friends from high school and college to whom I shared this story. Story 2. My girlfriend cheated on me while my dad was on his deathbed, claiming it was my fault. "You made me do it," she said as I shattered. After my dad's sudden passing, she ghosted me, leaving me to question, did I really deserve this betrayal? What happened next haunted me forever. So I am a 25-year-old man living with my parents. It was an early morning when my dad suddenly woke up and informed me that he was experiencing excruciating pain in his chest. After rushing to the emergency room, I was told that he had suffered a heart attack and needed to undergo surgery. The operation went smoothly. I shared the news with my girlfriend, and she came to visit me in the hospital the following day. It was around 1 p.m. when we met there, and while we were having something to eat, I was looking through her phone. Suddenly, I saw some videos from a recent visit. She explained that she had visited the location with her sister and her sister's boyfriend, but then I noticed another person in the video. My stomach and heart dropped. I directly asked her who else was there, but she insisted it was only her, her sister, and her boyfriend. I showed her the video, and she remained silent the entire time. I felt betrayed and as though my world had shattered. I questioned what I had done wrong. Eventually, she admitted it was just a guy friend and mentioned that he had recently proposed to her, but she had rejected him. I felt at a loss and pressed her for more information, and she revealed that he had also hugged her and touched her, which filled me with nothing but disgust for her. I was terrified of being cheated on and told her not to do that to me again, recounting how my past relationships had wronged me. After that, I asked her if they had kissed. She hesitated and did not immediately deny it, but deep down I knew they had. I was furious and felt deeply betrayed, demanding to know why she did what she did. She claimed she cheated because it was my fault. I wondered how it could possibly be my fault when I had made it clear from the first day that I did not tolerate cheating or secretive meetings, and I had set boundaries that she crossed. She left without a word. The next day, I woke up around 5 in the morning, and since there was nowhere to stay in the hospital, I had slept in the hallway near the stairs. My dad was about to be discharged after 6 days, and when we reached home, I messaged her to ask why she had betrayed me. She insisted he was just a friend, but I questioned why he had proposed to her and why she maintained a friendship with someone who had done that. Was I just an option to her? She said I made her do it and claimed it was my fault. How could she say that after everything? She never apologized for her actions. I had previously forgiven her for talking to her ex, even though they were no longer together, and for communicating with other guys behind my back. Perhaps the relationship should have ended then, but I loved her too much to end it. I told her to return my belongings when we met the next day. She was hesitant at first but ultimately agreed. My dad wanted to meet her and insisted she visit, but she refused, saying she would not come. How could she do that to the people who had cared for her for 3 years? The next day, I remember it was 5:25 a.m. when my mother was shouting my name. My stomach dropped when I saw that my dad appeared to be having an attack and I could hear the death rattle. Within seconds, he left us and I was crying and in shock, unable to comprehend what had happened. My uncle came and rushed him to the hospital, hoping there was still time, but he left us right at that moment. My friend soon learned of the news and I informed her that my dad was gone. She simply told me that she could not meet me anymore and would not come. Who abandons someone during their hardest time when they need support? She told me to move on as if it was easy and did not matter, then advised me to take care of myself before blocking me. I was utterly devastated by everything that had transpired, and these events continue to haunt me to this day. I still question whether I truly deserved that. Was I in the wrong?